AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR powered by Sunshine. Your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
So. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Shea Dixon in 15 minutes. Brandon Taylor next hour. LSU great Todd McClure in hour 3. We got a ton to do. Let us begin as we do every single day.
It's time to pop the top on another edition of AFR with Bud Light. Drink easy.
Well, the thing we all wanted to see was LSU run the football. Let me correct that. The thing I desperately wanted to see was LSU run the football against South Carolina. They did that by and large, and it was a day where you did it without your starter at left guard, no Paul Mabenga for the game, and a day where you really committed to doing it. Tigers threw the ball 33 times. They ran it 30 times, so that in and of itself showed a different level of commitment to the running game that you certainly didn't see in your loss on the road at Ole Miss 2 weeks prior. And when Brian Kelly was meeting with reporters on Monday, he talked about the difference that he saw in his offensive line against South Carolina they had previously in the season.
Other things that really stood out after you watch film is that we ran off the ball for the first time with the offensive line. We got off the ball. Now, we got to sustain. And sustainability is will and want to, and we got to get more of that. I thought we did a great job in protecting our quarterback. No sacks against one of the elite pass rushers in Stewart in the league. He is an outstanding athlete, and I was proud of our guys in keeping our quarterback clean.
Stewart, of course, is Dylan Stewart from South Carolina. I'm getting to a point here as well because there remains one sort of glaring issue on this offensive line, but Brian Kelly later elaborated that how this offensive line progressed from the beginning of the season now through the bye week, and in particular, one part of the offensive line. Give a listen.
We're at the point now where we can talk about sustaining blocks, which is simply a determination and a want to and a will. And we got to get to that, because if we sustain 1 or 2 blocks, well, we had 6 runs of 15 yards or more. That's a really good start. We could have had 3 or 4 that were of 50 or more. And we just need to sustain. I couldn't get to sustaining blocks if I couldn't get off the ball. Now we're getting off the ball. Now we got to sustain blocks. We got to hold on to those blocks. It can't just be contact and that's it, because those guys are folding back in and making plays. So we're at a next stage if we continue to do what we're doing, which puts us in a really good place.
One of the things that I've mentioned a lot throughout this offseason, and this isn't something that's unique to me, it makes a lot of sense, is with an offensive line, you have 5 that need to play as one. And when you have a lot of first-time players out there and everyone playing together for the first time, that is going to take time to gel together. So that's sort of what you heard Brian Kelly saying there. It was teaching them first, firing off the ball. Now it's sustaining blocks. It's all a progress in how they're evolving and developing. And Brian Kelly on Monday in his press conference said it was the best center guard play that they've had all year. Braylon Moore, Josh Thompson, Cohen Eccles. He said that triangle, the best center guard play they've had the entire season. And the PFF grades actually bear that out. So when you look at pass blocking specifically, Braylon Moore was your highest graded pass blocker in this game with an 80.8. We're just looking at the offensive linemen. Josh Thompson was next with a 62. And then you saw Tyree Adams lower at a 57, Weston Davis at a 29, and Cohen Eccles was way down there at a 24. But the center guard with Braylon Moore and Josh Thompson, that does bear out. Now, when you talk about run blocking, your highest graded run blocker was, and again, this is what we're talking about, right? Not the pass block. We're talking about run blocking. So this is really what Kelly was alluding to there, is you're trying to get better in the running game. Josh Thompson, your highest graded run blocker at a 72.5. Cohen Eccles next at 62.4. Braylon Moore next, 62.3. I always say with PFF, sometimes it can validate or invalidate, confirm or disconfirm what the eye test show you. Well, Brian Kelly's sitting there saying it was the best center guard play we had all year. That obviously bears it out. The problem that you're having right now is that Tyree Adams has been good for you at left tackle. He's certainly been serviceable. He hasn't been outstanding this season. He hasn't played at an all-conference level. His overall PFF grade is a 60. Pass blocking grade is 64. His run blocking grade a 54. So not great, but serviceable. The problem that I think everyone can acknowledge is Weston Davis is really struggling at right tackle. And I'm not the person that ever wants to come on air and just bury a college athlete. I try my very best to not do that. And I think Weston Davis is a guy at 6'7", 320 with incredible upside. He's a former five-star, and he's a fantastic athlete and has tremendous upside and ability. But look at what happened against Louisiana Tech. They pulled him to start the second half. Brian Kelly says as much, like he just needed to sit and just watch for a little while. He was swimming. And you look at this game, his pass blocking grade was a 29.2. His run blocking grade was a 51.4. His overall season grade is a 39. Like, it's just very obvious. Like a season ago, DJ Chester at center was your weak link. God bless the kid. I mean, he was playing out of position, and he was playing the position where you got to touch the ball every play, make every call. It was very difficult. Right now, Weston Davis is feeling a little bit of that. As a redshirt freshman playing for the first time, and he's swimming. Now, you might remember this because we talked about it a lot in the spring. Josh Thompson, who transferred in from Northwestern, was a 2-year starter at Northwestern. Last season in 2024 for the Wildcats, he played 646 snaps, all of them at right guard. So in 2024, Josh Thompson was the starting right guard at Northwestern. But 2 years ago in 2023, he played 761 snaps at right tackle. He was Northwestern's starting right tackle 2 years ago. So now you have a guy that is veteran, multi-year starter, is performing very well for you, solid for you right now through the first 6 games, who has experience as a starting right tackle. And that is very clearly your weakest position right now. So wouldn't it stand to reason you could give Thompson a look at right tackle and then maybe play Chester or Kern at right guard? You solidify where you are weakest right now and get another athletic, big, physical player at guard. So I asked Brian Kelly that on Monday. Here's what he said.
We did, but we're willing to live with some mistakes out at right tackle because we think his future is so bright. So when you go into that whole process of thinking about it, do you thwart his growth of what he needs to see every day? He was really good against 6 and pass protection. Really good. That guy is outstanding. He's as good as I've seen. We've got to get him better in the run game. And that's where at times you want to put Josh out there. But we're going to live with him. And I'm proud of him. He's growing. He's learning this game. And that's a big part of this. O-line awareness, O-line instincts. Some have it, some don't. Some you got to really give them reps. And that's what this is about. He needs to play.
There's 2 ways to look at that conversation. Weston Davis has tremendous upside. That's undeniable. And some guys struggle when they're young and they get better with more reps. And Davis could very well be that guy. I think he will be that guy. But are you compromising your short-term ability to have success this season by being vulnerable there when you have an option? If you didn't have another option, that'd be one thing. But you have an option that you're not willing to exercise. And I wonder if you don't get to a point this year where you have to make that move. Now, the other part of it, too, is Josh Thompson has to be willing to make that move. And there is something to be said for in a new era, an NIL era, where guys probably commit or come under certain pretenses. Josh Thompson was in the Big Ten, comes into the SEC, and is putting out good tape so far through 6 weeks. Is he willing to switch positions in his draft year? Maybe not. And I would love to think all-in team guy, whatever we got to do to win. And I don't know. I don't know Josh Thompson. Aside from the few times he's met with the media, I don't know him a lick. So I can't tell you what he will be willing to do or not. But I think that's also something you got to consider. Is he willing to move to right tackle if you wanted him to? So, and you heard Brian Kelly say in that bite, because the way I asked the question was, have you considered moving him to right tackle? And he says, yeah, he acknowledges, yes, they talked about it. Well, wouldn't you talk about it with Josh Thompson as well? Wouldn't that stand to reason? So I don't know where that stands, but that is something to watch. And the hope is in the second half of the season, you continue to see Weston Davis exponentially improve. And if he does, great. Now you're solidified at that spot for the next couple of years with a really athletic, talented guy. But in the meantime, that remains a weakness. And every team has a best pass rusher. Every team has one. They may not all be Dylan Stewart, but everybody's got one. And it's going to be on Weston Davis a lot of Saturdays to try to hold him off. See how that continues to develop. All right, it's after further review. Show Up and Every Day is brought to you by Bud Light. Drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of AFR, the official beer of the LSU Tigers, the official beer of your New Orleans Saints. Both the Tigers and the Saints are on the road this week, so maybe you're going to be watching the game at your house. Make sure your cooler, your refrigerator is stocked with plenty of delicious ice-cold Bud Light for that 11 a.m. kickoff in Nashville or that noon kickoff up in Chicago. Bud Light, drink easy with the great taste of Bud Light, the official beer of the Tigers and the official beer of the New Orleans Saints. All right, Shea Dixon's going to join us when we come back. As always, we normally have Sean Salisbury on Tuesdays. However, Sean's daughter is in labor, so Sean's going to be a grandfather, which is awesome. We're thrilled for him. But so Sean's not going to be here in hour 3. So Todd McClure will jump aboard with us, and we'll talk some offense. I'll bounce some of this off of Todd McClure in hour 3 when he's here. Stay with us. It's AFR.
After further review.
Woke up this morning to temps in the 50s. Know a lot of y'all are starting to get a little bit of an itchy finger there to go crank on that heater. Don't do it. Don't you do it. Don't turn on your home central heater until you've called River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001. Look for the big yellow vans and trucks with the giant clock on the side. River City's 1 Hour Air will come by for the preseason heater safety check. They'll come by to make sure your heater is safe and efficient for the coming cold weather season. Look, your heater is dormant for months. It can collect dust. It can be hazardous. Don't crank on your heater until you've had River City's 1 Hour Air come take a look for the preseason heater safety check. Mention the Moscona special. Just mention the show. They'll knock $30 off the price. It's River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, whether always on time or you don't pay a dime.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Rolling along on a Tuesday, we are powered by Sunshine. Man, I keep passing by the new every day on my way home. I passed by the newest Sunshine location going up there on Pico and Baton Rouge. Can't wait for that thing to open. Y'all get on by and see our friends at Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Shea Dixon, On3, the Bengal Tiger, good enough to join us as he does here on Tuesday. Shady, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How are you, Matt?
I'm doing awesome. Just before you came on, we were talking a little bit about that the whole right tackle situation with Weston Davis. And, Shea, I look at it from a recruiting standpoint, and I can't help but think of someone like from Neville, the big 5-star who went up to Tennessee. I'm blanking on his name.
Will Campbell.
No.
No, wait. Who are you talking about?
After Campbell.
Lance Hurd.
Hurd, thank you. I can't help but think about Lance Hurd. But, if he stays, then you've got a 5-star or 3, guy's been here for 3 years and is plug and play ready made at one of the tackle spots. But it's sort of like what you deal with right now. What's your thoughts on kind of how this whole thing has come together?
Yeah, I mean, I think that my reaction was one of the reactions you had, and I thought you had a good question adding the Thompson stuff in there with Brian Kelly yesterday, because then we got a sort of very specific answer to how they move forward here. But I don't know. I texted you that I have a reaction to this because maybe I just want to hear your reaction, and I know you have a big pulse on things. Like, are we even in the era of the portal? Yes. But everyone's playing this well. This is the year card, right? Like, we're all in. LSU's all in. And I get it, right? And you address the O-line. You've added 2 portal guys. They both start. And are we just under a presumption that a kid who everyone was so excited about, one of the top offensive tackles in America, who's a 5-star on Rivals, and at the time on 3, but he's a starter and above the rim basketball player on a Beaumont United top 25 national team. Like, this is above Emory Jones, balling out at Catholic High type stuff. So much like a Trey Green, a guy like that isn't going to be good in his first 6 games, right, Matt? Like, am I underreacting to this?
No, I
when
think
do you get excitement for a 5-star prospect and not just kicking it down the road as a fan and saying, well, there's got to be a more immediate fix?
Well, I think a lot of that is expectation, Shea. Whenever you're talking about a team that fancies itself as a national title contender, you start to look at what are the things that could potentially prevent you from getting there. Well, we would all agree the weakest unit on this team right now is the offensive line. And the weakest part of your weakest unit right now is Weston Davis at right tackle. I think that's objectively true. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn or saying anything that's untrue. But 2 things can be true at the same time, right? Like, we can acknowledge this is a guy with an extremely high ceiling that I think is going to be an outstanding football player, but right now he's a bit of a liability. And if you didn't have an option like Thompson, who's been a power 4 starter at right tackle, then this is not a conversation. But I think it has to be a conversation because you do have a guy that's been a full season starter in the power 4 at right tackle. That's just the way I look at it.
Yeah, I think that's the kind of crux of this whole thing is, like I said, I'm glad you got specific with Kelly, because if it weren't a discussion about Thompson, what discussion are we having? It would be like any other position, right? Where you just say the coaches see all of them in practice. I'm guessing there's not anyone better that they have to turn to. So I don't know. I just see everyone freaking out. I'm like, man, I can remember when this kid committed and how excited y'all were. Yeah. And now the fans are kind of not so bullish on the idea of him trying to, I guess, get through his first season as a starter while balancing the reality, yes, that you're 5-1 and fancy yourself as a playoff team.
That's the difference, right? If you're a team that is trying to get better and build for the future, that's a very different reality than the immediacy of what's happening with this LSU team, because we can all acknowledge, Shea, they've got to get better. Similarly, you have to acknowledge they're 5-1 and ranked 10th in the country. Like, every goal they have is right there to be achieved. So, how do you continue to improve? So, hopefully it continues to get better and better and better as the season goes along. And the thing I'll say, Shea, last point, if you have a thought on it, please weigh in. But it feels to me what I hope is similar to like what happened a year ago with Paul Mabenga, where he was thrust in there in a really tough spot when Dellinger got hurt. I mean, on the road at A&M, and then has to start against Bama and Florida, and it was not good early. But if you go look at Mabenga, every game he started last year, every game, he PFF grades or whatever, he improved every single week. And then starting this season, he's been really good for you at left guard. Now, he didn't play last week, obviously, after he got hurt. But yes, like, guys are allowed to improve, and that's really, I think, my hope here with Davis is the more reps he get, the more he improves. Yeah,
and I think too, people get less mad when it's the second guy up if a guy is struggling on the road or early. But I think it maybe does go back to the old point of debate. Maybe here it's settled back to this reality that LSU is better. There were more expectations on this season than a year ago, so you weren't as upset if a guy was taking his lumps on your line that you thought might be a full-time starter for you. And also, like you said, yeah, I think people are just browsing or kind of glossing over the, it was a really tough matchup, with South Carolina, and he did his best. It's like, well, not every everyone has a great D end, and then there's the best D end, that's Dylan Stewart. But every week you're getting that. So I guess playing right tackle, Matt.
Yeah.
That and left tackle. Everybody's watching you when you mess up more than any other position.
Shea, let's talk a little bit from the recruiting perspective. The game in Baton Rouge this past weekend with South Carolina coming in, how did it go for the recruits that showed up, and what ended up being the notable visitor list?
It went well. I mean, look, this is anytime you can get a win and be 5-1. I always say that recruits don't view things through the same lens as fans or even we do. Often I'll joke, and I'm serious with it. And this might be the same for fans, but at the end of the season, they couldn't tell you what their record had been or how many losses they had or who the name every loss. Like, it's one of those things where it's just, hey, look, how do I fit in and kind of take it from there. And boy, I think LSU still has the number 2 blue chip ratio right now, 16 commits. But we've talked about that a lot. Like, we're not in the old days anymore of 25 to 30 high school signees. There's no cap that people worry about anymore with the portal. And obviously retaining a roster, I think they're going to be around 20 every cycle. And the big goal, I think, was just getting these guys back to campus. So getting them back, I think every Louisiana commit was there, and a handful of out-of-state commits were back, Matt. And from Lamar Brown over at U-High to out-of-state guys who have made kind of multiple visits, the feeling is always, hey, Tiger Stadium's impressed. Hey, playing offense or defense. Certainly, though, I think people are more kind of surprised with the offensive reaction of how often these are. Look, I can count out reading right now, Steve Wiltfong had just written a couple of articles on guys who were in national players for 2027 next year, where the whole storyline is, I'm loving how the offense looks. They're clicking at the right time. So I guess as we talk about overreactions at the midway point of the season, don't overreact to them having 16 commits. That's sort of the new era of things. And 2, don't overreact too much on Saturdays, because the future guys who are on this team out of high school don't weigh it as heavily as you do.
Shea, what can you tell us about Joshua Thompson, who had 5-star, the number 1 cornerback on visit this past weekend?
Yeah, kid who's coming out of Fort Mill over in South Carolina. So he's seeing his home state team take on LSU and got to see LSU win. And I mean, he talked about it being one of the notable visits he's had in his recruitment. He's only a junior, but when you're the number 1 corner and already a 5-star, you've made a number of visits. So that was one thing that sort of stood out. And then he's had a relationship with Corey Raymond for a while. And I talk about it often, that when you get to this point in a recruiting process, Matt, and you've only got a couple of months left till signing day, or the majority of your class is built, that focus shifts to the next cycle. And look, they've got 1 commit, Peyton Houston, but they're going to start stacking them up. And I often say, look, you'll look back at weekends like this where you can look up now, and DJ Pickett is your, cornerback and guy for the future. Well, these are those weekends where a guy like Joshua Thompson just kind of slips under the radar, and people are like, don't realize, hey, this could be your 5-star future guy. And this was his first visit and was really a tone setter. So I think for him to be able to see LSU beat his home state team, and obviously the defense look like they have all season, was pretty big for him. So couple that with a relationship with Corey Raymond, he doesn't target many people per cycle, notably out of state. So Dobson will be a guy to keep an eye on, definitely.
Shea Dixon, On3, the Bengal Tiger, good enough to hang out with us. Shea, we are going to get a commitment announcement coming up in a couple of days here on Thursday from an in-state prospect. What can you tell us about, is it Vital or Vital? How does he say it?
Boy, I was hoping you were going to go with an answer for me on both of them. Actually, is it Vital or Vital, or Javon or Javon? I'm going to go Javon Vital. I'll think Vital. Maybe I'll go Vital.
Let's go Javon Vital. I'm with it.
I'm with it. He'll announce this week. They've already offered. These kids are juniors in high school. LSU's already offered 10 plus kids out of Louisiana next year, and I think it's the same number that we have in the On 300 or the Rivals 300 right now. But he's one of the top 10 players in the state. Coming out of Hamilton Christian Academy over in Lake Charles. And I'm not too familiar with how long they've been open, but if he were to pick LSU, and I've got my pick in on him to pick LSU, but Southern Cal, UCLA, there's other teams in the mix here. If he does pick LSU, Matt, he would become the first player to ever go from Hamilton Christian to signing or committing to LSU football. So I don't care if they open this year, which they didn't. I know he played there last year, but that's a pretty cool thing to take with you if you wind up playing for the home state team.
He's a wide receiver?
Yeah, well, right now, I mean, he's playing 1A ball over at Hamilton Christian, and he's everything that they have. I think quarterback-wise, return specialist, DB, he's kind of that guy for him. But yes, viewed as a kind of a smaller slot wide receiver at the next level.
He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon of On3, the Bengal Tiger. Tigers hit the road this week, Shea, for game against Vanderbilt. What do we look for here in the immediate short term with Vanderbilt, and then obviously A&M coming in a week from Saturday?
Yeah, I think that the goal this weekend on the recruit front is to get out of there, right, with a win. You don't want to be coming back here and having to kind of not only have all the pressure on you, but go up there and lose to Vandy. So I kind of think everything is sort of geared up. Gosh, Florida and South Carolina have obviously been their biggest home games. Those were big recruiting weekends, and there's not many left. And certainly this A&M win stands out. So I'm going to guess the next 2 weeks, which both have, aren't coming before a bye or anything like that. So they're not going to be on the road recruiting, that they are geared up on loading up that visitor list for A&M, because that'll be that big weekend you have before that final month of the season. And then the early signing period gets here in a hurry, obviously. So you'll try to get all your commits back, see if they don't get a few more kind of out-of-state or targets, I should say, flip targets even, who are seniors, because I don't think they can end at 16 commits. I think it'll get closer to 20. So we'll keep an eye on it. Hey, maybe Catholic High's Blaine Bradford will be there. In fact, I would almost guarantee he's there, unless he's headed up to Ohio State where he's committed, Matt.
I think we might see Blaine Bradford. I don't know if he'll wear purple and gold, but I think we'll probably see him at that LSU A&M game. Be fun. He's Shea Dixon, On3, the Bengal Tiger. Of course, rivals now as well on the recruiting side. Check him out at Shea Dixon. Thanks, Shea. Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate it, Matt.
All right, bud. Be well. It's After Further Review. We're brought to you by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. lmfj.com. Lee Michaels helping Louisianians get engaged now for 4 decades. When you go to Lee Michaels, we talk so much about the Lee Michaels experience, where when you walk in, they offer you a beverage and chocolates on a tray. Because they have the buying power of 10 stores, they can get what you want. If they can't get it, they'll find it. If they can't find it, they'll make it. They offer custom pieces, and at Lee Michaels, they offer returns. If she's not thrilled, they want her to love it. They want you to have a great experience, her to love it, you to be the hero. And if that's not the case, then they'll take a return. It's Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com. lmfj.com. Remember, maybe you have an anniversary coming up. A lot of folks will trade their diamond in for maybe an upgrade. Just be real, man. A lot of us, when we get married, maybe not doing as well professionally as you do when you get on in your career a little bit. So great opportunity maybe for that upgrade at this point. So check them out at Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com. All right, it's After Further Review. Glad you're with us. Our Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We're not got a quick break, go around the SEC when we come back. Also, one thing that a couple outlets are doing every week throughout the season is they're using the old BCS formula to tell you what the playoff race would look like now, like if the BCS formula was still in existence. So I'll run through what that looks like right now. We'll do it when we come back. It's AFR.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness. Visit yourgoodwood.com, yourgoodwood.com. I want to remind you, so Goodwood is on Drusilla in Baton Rouge. And there's actually, it's part of 3 different entities all in that one complex. There's Goodwood, the men's clinic. There's Unique Physique, which does the GLP-1s, right? Semaglutide, tirzepatide, the weight loss shots. And then there's Unique Aesthetics and Wellness, which is the aesthetics clinic. So the laser hair removal, the laser therapy, the skin therapy, body contouring, Botox. They do it all. By the way, Unique Aesthetics and Wellness, $8 a unit Botox. So gents, if you use Botox, great. If it's your wife, girlfriend, fiance, whomever, let her know. $8 a unit Botox at Unique Aesthetics and Wellness. It's the lowest price you'll find anywhere. So if you want to look and feel your best, they've got it for you right there on Drusilla with Goodwood, Unique Physique, and Unique Aesthetics and Wellness. But, of course, you can always start by going to yourgoodwood.com. That's yourgoodwood.com.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Plowing these fields in the hot summer sun. Over by the gate, Lordy, here she comes with a basket full of chicken and a big cold jug of sweet tea. I make a little room and she climbs
The
on
BCS
open up a throne.
has been dead since after the 2013 season, but there's a Twitter X account called BCS Know-How. And so they use the BCS formula from then to compile all the numbers of with all the current college football season to spit it out, tell you what the BCS rankings would look like right now. If you're interested, Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Miami 3, Texas A&M 4. So by the way, this if you're playing out the playoff, those would be the top 4 that would all have buys, right? If you're looking at it right now, Ohio State, Indiana, Miami, Texas A&M. That'd be your top 4 with buys. Number 5, Ole Miss would play number 12, Memphis. Number 6, Alabama would play number 11, Georgia Tech. Number 7, Texas Tech would play number 10, LSU. Number 8, Georgia would play number 9, Oregon. And if you're wondering about how the full BCS top 25 would look following week 7, this is how it would look right now. Just went through the top 12 there, but actually the team that would be outside looking in is Tennessee at 12. And Tennessee would have got bumped in favor of Memphis as the lowest rated G5, or the highest rated G5, I guess, that would get in. Memphis in the BCS rankings would be ranked 20, I'm looking at here, 21st. Memphis would be ranked 21st, but would get in as the highest ranked conference, G5 conference champ. So for whatever that's worth. I always think this is, it also, I guess, of note, Notre Dame presently would be on the outside looking in. Now, this is all going to change. There's going to be more upsets and whatnot. But I know a lot of people loved to hate the BCS at the time. My contention always was twofold. Number one, the BCS was very good to the SEC, and in particular LSU. You won 2 national championships in the BCS era, and that was when the SEC established its dominance because the formula loved the SEC. The formula recognized the SEC's strength of schedule. The other thing is that the BCS typically got it right. It's a shame that only 2 people or two teams were allowed in the field, but I will continue to say I would rather get to a point where we have a 12 or 16 team college football playoff where the teams are selected by a formula like the BCS instead of the group of self-important dopes in the hotel ballroom in suburban Dallas debating things like game control and defensive efficiency metrics with all of their bias laid in to all of those decisions. Where you got Honey Boo Boo and Ward Cleaver out there throwing out their what are the reasons we decided this week to do what we decided to do press conference with zero accountability. I don't know anyone that needs that in our lives. At least at the start of every season, you would have a jumping off point where everybody would know these are the rules, this is the metric, this is how it's decided. I don't know that we'll ever get back there. I don't know that there's tremendous support for that, but the less we can involve humans and their bias in selecting this field and come up with a metric that is agreed upon before the season that everyone understands this is how we're going to choose the 12 or 16 teams, whatever it is. I don't understand the argument against that. That would be better for everyone involved. And as of right now, LSU would be in. I feel like it's the thing I got to keep reminding LSU fans. Like, I get the disappointment of losing to Ole Miss, the struggles running the football, and Nuss, is he hurt? Is he not? Is he whatever? But at the halfway point of the season, you're 5-1, and everything that you want to play for is right in front of you. Just keep getting better and go win games. All right, we're brought to you by Parish Restoration, parishrestoration.com. Kill mold, remove odor, go to parishrestoration.com. That's parishrestoration.com. Jim Woodworth and the gang, they do awesome work. By the way, not just in Baton Rouge. They go all over the state, actually all over the region. They do a ton of work in New Orleans as well. Makes sense, right? I mean, in Louisiana, especially the southern part of Louisiana, it's wet and it's humid. It's a breeding ground for mold. Have mold, think you might? Parishrestoration.com, parishrestoration.com, but not just mold. Maybe someone's sick in your office and it's going around the office, the school, the church, whatever it may be. You want to sanitize that building, medical complex. You want to sanitize your medical facility, have them come in, spray their patented non-toxic dry fog treatment. They'll knock it out all the way down to the spores. Also, want to get rid of odor. sweat, smoke, pet odor, then come in, they'll spray. It'll knock all that out. ParishRestoration.com, ParishRestoration.com. All right, it's after further review. Do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, bringing you the biggest news from the nation's best conference. The Oklahoma Sooners.
John Mateer played all 4 quarters against Texas. Came out seemingly pretty healthy. He spoke to reporters Monday night, said he's, quote, full go, played the game. If there's anything hurting, I'll chill out. But Mateer said he'll monitor himself if it flares up, but just less than 3 weeks after surgery on that hand, played against Texas, says he's still good to go.
The Tennessee Volunteers.
Josh Heupel gave a status update on running back Deshaun Bishop ahead of Tennessee's game against number 6 Alabama this week. Heupel said he expects Bishop to be ready to go. Ran for a career-high 146 and a score before suffering a right leg injury Saturday against Arkansas. Heupel said postgame that he didn't think this would be long-term. So Bishop, redshirt sophomore, started all 6 games for the Vols so far at running back.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
On the other end of the third Saturday in October, Alabama wide receiver Bubba Hampton is going to enter the transfer portal. Pete Nakos had it first. Kalen DeBoer confirmed about a month ago that Hampton was leaving the team or left the team during fall camp. Now they know it's a mutually agreed upon decision, and Hampton is entering the portal.
The Auburn Tigers.
Auburn's flipped Shadarius Tootle back from Georgia. He's a 4-star linebacker, committed to Auburn in July of 2024, and then this June he flipped to Georgia. Well, now he's flipped back to Auburn after Auburn lost to Georgia. 6'3", 210, the number 250 overall player in the country, the 14th best linebacker. He's from the state of Alabama, the 13th commitment for Auburn's 2026 class.
The Missouri Tigers.
And cornerback Brody Jones has flipped his commitment from Cincinnati to Missouri. He's out of Fayetteville, Arkansas. 3-star prospect, committed to Cincinnati since June. 6'3", 175. He's the 114th best safety in the country and the 14th best player out of Arkansas, but he's headed to Mizzou. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC. Our Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. Visit sunequip.com, sunequip.com. Y'all thank a farmer for all the work they do to keep our state's economy churning, and also because, they're how we eat. So God bless the farmers. Thank a farmer. Hug a farmer. And, of course, if you're a farmer and you need your farm equipment, you already know about Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana, but so much more. Zero-turn mowers, gators, hunting season, great time for that. And it's tailgate season. You need generators or fans or all the stuff for your tailgate. They got that at Sunshine as well. Sunequip.com to find the location nearest you. Sunequip.com. Okay, y'all, it's after further review. We're going to wrap up hour number 1 when we come back. Bill Belichick sounding off on the rumors that he's trying to plan his exit strategy from Chapel Hill. We'll let you hear from the coach in just a bit. Brandon Taylor in 30 minutes. Todd McClure in hour 3. Mel Kiper's got a new big board, his first big board out. We got a ton to do, and glad you're with us here on AFR.
AFR.
Let's Rev, y'all. Fired up to have Rev as a part of the show. Let'sRev.com, Let'sRev.com, R-E-V, Let'sRev.com. I encourage you to do what I did. Switch to Rev. It's Louisiana's largest privately owned and operated internet service provider. They're known for their 5-star customer service, their reliability, and most importantly, Rev is powered by an all-fiber network backed by local support teams right here in South Louisiana. Literally this week, there were crews in my front yard digging up my front yard to lay fiber. They're laying fiber in my neighborhood right now, and I could not be more excited. So what that means for you is, okay, power goes out, trees down, whatever the case, you're not going to lose internet because the internet, the fiber is underground. You got to switch to Rev, y'all. Go to Let'sRev.com, Let'sRev.com. And we're talking Baton Rouge, Gonzales, Prairieville, Plaquemine, Denham, Springfield, Hammond, Ponchatoula, Covington, Mandeville, LaPlace, Reserve, Thibodaux, Houma, LaRose, Grand Isle, everywhere. Let'sRev.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She thinks my tractor's sexy. It really turns her on.
Wrapping up hour number 1. At the end of last week, a lot of hullabaloo about Bill Belichick at North Carolina, that he was sort of strategizing his exit, looking for the escape hatch. there in Chapel Hill. Well, Bill Belichick, meeting with reporters this week, he says, nope, that's not true at all.
Am I looking for a buyout and trying to leave here and all that? It's categorically false. There's zero truth to any of that. Glad I'm here. We're working towards our goals and the process. I had great support from Chancellor Roberts, Bubba, Steve, and so forth. Mike Lombardi. It's been those people have all been great, and I appreciate all their help and everything. And we just believe very much in the process. Kind of like Bill Walsh said, the score will take care of itself. And I've always believed that you just got to keep working and grinding away, and that's exactly what we're doing.
There are winnable games ahead for North Carolina. They've gotten blasted by some pretty good teams. They got blasted by TCU. They got blasted by Clemson. I don't know how good of a team Central Florida is and losing 34-9 down in the bounce house. That's a little concerning. Do they still call that the bounce house? Do you know, Muse?
Yes, they do. They still call it the bounce house.
Still call it the bounce house. That's not Mr. Worldwide's place. That's a whole nother place altogether.
Yes.
Is that FAU or FIU?
I'll look it up because I don't know.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, North Carolina had an open date this past week. Then they
FIU.
Yeah.
Pitbull Stadium.
Pitbull. That's him, Mr. Worldwide. You surprised I knew that?
No.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah. Blah, 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 blee, blah. Don't start the party.
See, there you go.
How cool am I?
Not very, but I'm not surprised you knew that.
There was a time in my life when it was. Maybe a little bit. Little smidge cooler than I am now. What about FAU? Remember when Lane Kiffin had the come to the FAU?
Come to the FAU.
And he did the little hand signal for the owl.
Boca.
What was the owl?
Sure.
Little owl signal?
Well, I mean, who?
Whatever it was.
Who?
Oh, yeah.
That's an owl. Who?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. You got it?
What's the F? You want to know what their stadium is?
Well, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I thought we were just talking about Lane.
No, I want to know the name of the stadium. The Owl House.
It's FAU Stadium.
Okay.
That's all it is.
Got it.
It's in Boca.
A lot of old people in Boca.
Mm-hmm.
Snowbirds is what they call them, Muse.
Yeah.
From the Northeast, when it gets cold, they go down to Boca.
It's a good idea, honestly.
I know. So anyway, North Carolina, they're at 2-3. They're going to play at Cal. It's a weird conference game.
Traditional.
North Carolina at Cal in a conference game. Then they play Virginia at home, and Virginia's ranked 18th right now. But then you go at Syracuse, you get Stanford at home, at Wake, Duke, and at NC State. So, there's winnable games. You got one ranked opponent left. It's a home game against Virginia. I wouldn't be stunned if they found their way to bowl eligibility. You get 7 games left. You need to go 4-3 in your final 7. Can you find a way to bowl eligibility? I'm not saying that's the standard, why they paid Bill Belichick $10 million, or whatever they're paying him. But I think it's doable. I think the real question is he long for North Carolina? Like, does he want to be there long term? And that's more challenging because I think his objective would be to get back to the NFL. I just don't think it's very clear now. 2 hiring cycles have come and gone, and the NFL hasn't hired Bill Belichick. So I don't know that there's an opportunity for him to get back into the NFL. Now, Pete Carroll, in his 70s, got hired there by the Raiders. So certainly the opportunity could arise somewhere. It's hard to imagine where that would be. The Titans are open. Is that something where the Titans might say, let's bring in Belichick, kind of like Dallas did with Parcells, come make us better for a short time, knowing you're not going to be here for a long time, and make us better for the next guy. Maybe that's a possibility, but we'll follow that as that moves along. We do have odds for the next coach fired. I'll get to that in just a second. We are brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. Thinking of buying land? Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit, so log on to firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. Because when you work with First South Farm Credit, they're going to look at ways that they can save you money on the bottom line. That's what they did for Macy Rushing.
Our loan officer took the liberty we talked about like when rates dropped to like, please let us know, we would like to refinance because when we closed, it was obviously high. And he took the liberty to, when it dropped, he did it himself. And he was like, hey, I saved y'all this much money. We were like, oh my gosh, thank you so much. Not many banks go out of their way and take time out of their day to save you money.
They do it at First South Farm Credit because that's what they've been doing at First South Farm Credit for 100 years, helping Louisianians buy land and, of course, save money when they can. FirstSouthLand.com, FirstSouthLand.com. Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit at FirstSouthLand.com. Oh, there it is. Well, I told you I was going to give you the latest odds, and then I went and clicked off of it. That's my bad, of the next coach fired. I can tell you the odds-on favorite to be the next coach fired is Billy Napier. I don't think that should come as any great surprise to anyone, but I'll have to update that after the top of the hour. My bad. SportsCenter's next.
AFR.
We're brought to you by Our Lady of the Lake, championship health partner of LSU Athletics. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together we roar. As a matter of fact, our trip to Nashville, we'll be leaving Thursday, doing AFR Friday from Nashville. Our trip to Nashville is presented by Our Lady of the Lake. You see, at Our Lady of the Lake, they're so interwoven with all things LSU. They're a championship health partner of LSU Athletics. So the physicians you see caring for the Tigers on the field, the court, the gym, wherever it may be, those are Our Lady of the Lake physicians. The Student Health Center at LSU, Our Lady of the Lake has that contract as well. And then everyday champions. You've seen LSU athletes do NIL deals with Our Lady of the Lake. Jared Nussmeier's on billboards and television commercials everywhere. That's all part of their NIL initiative with LSU and NILSU Max. They've agreed to the naming rights to the new basketball arena. When you think LSU, you think Our Lady of the Lake, because Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, together, we roar.